It's an honor for me to be among you here and talk about one of the experiences I had. Well, I'm an industrial engineering background, and I don't know much about funding, investing, and the startup passion that every people talk about that. But a few days ago, when I was walking at the university, I saw a sign inviting students to join an event called Ideas Bazaar. All I know about this is that there are some ideas to be shared, and some may be in startup. But I, again, didn't know what startup is. So I decided to ask my friends and do a research, and finally I got the text. Now I know what startup is and the structure behind it, and I'm going to share part of it with you today. Startup is actually starting with an idea, which then becomes a very big business. It has to pass through 3 phases: validation and growth. At first, there's a unique idea which is supposed to make so much money if it is invested on. And the person who has the idea has to prepare a nice team who are powerful enough to handle the things associated with this happening. And then this idea should be actually presented to an investor, but there should be a link here. There should be an accelerator. A steel accelerator, or as I said, accelerator, is a company who is the link between the person who has an idea and the person who is going to invest in that idea. For sure, there should be some trainings, and this person, this accelerator, should be a mentor and bring some trainings for that person so that he gets prepared to provide the idea to the investor, and then the investor is going to decide whether to invest some money on that. And of course, he invests and pays some money, and instead he gets some share of those income out of that investment. Many of these startups you're familiar with, but some maybe no. You may have an idea which may become a startup. And one important point about startups is that there is a very good growth when invested on. And there's an exponential growth, of course. It is very, very different with the organic one. And this makes this kind of startups and a very interesting ones. And actually, this makes the investors interested in investing in those ideas. You may be actually interested to know more about this kind of startups like Amazon, Google, Facebook, or in the Iranian one, Digicala. They have the same process to become a very big business. With regard to Dropbox, I actually found it myself very interesting. Dropbox was initiated in 2007 by an MIT student. The problem was that this person, Drew Houston, was somehow forgetting some things like me, as I do forget many things, like my USB flash drive. He also forgot it to take it with himself, and there would be many, many problems due to forgetting this very useful device. So he had an idea to solve this personal problem, and therefore this idea was merely for a personal use. He thought that other people may have the same problem, so this idea can solve the problem of many other people. And then he decided to share it with an accelerator who can promote his idea and help him connect with a good investor. So there will be some training, some mentoring, and other things. In only a year later, he could found officially Dropbox Corporation with the help of his friend Arash Ferdowsi, who I think is Iranian. At that time, it was an annual conference on technology in MIT, where this idea was presented. And then other persons who had decided to invest in such an idea came across and invested on this. And you see that Dropbox is right now only 8 years old, but it has a very good growth. Starting from 2007, by personal experience, it could reach about 100 million users in 2011 and could double it in the next year. In 2013, it could reach 200 million users, and in 2015, it could reach 400 million users. So there is an exponential growth here. Most startups, you know, have the same story. There's an idea presented by a person. There's an accelerator who actually helps that idea to be processed more, and an investor, or actually we call it VC, venture capital, who can invest on that idea to have a very good income out of that. I think that based on this story and what we see around us, any idea you have, human being has found the way to develop it well. So there may be other ideas that can have the same story. I want to have a plan for my own idea. I'm thinking of peace in the world. And I mean by peace, inner peace, peace of mind, and no war, and anything like this. So I mean a comprehensive meaning by peace. Based on what I said, as a startup, I have to find a venture capital, a VC, and one who can accelerate this process, a seed accelerator. And of course, I need some team members. These accelerators are talked about are actually sensitive to team members. They don't believe that one person can handle all tasks associated with a startup. So they take care who is going to develop that idea. Team members should be powerful and should be passionate about the idea. And of course, that mentor or the person who is the accelerator, I mean the company or person who is an accelerator, should have the same passion. And they should be also interested in that idea to be developed. So I have to have this puzzle together. Team members, VC, and the accelerator or the mentor. What I have thought is that peace in the world is a very, very huge idea, and no human being can complete it on his own. So a very divine power is required for that. What I thought is that the only person who can handle this and invest on this idea as an investor is the one and only God. He is the best and the only choice we have, because the idea is very, very universal. So he has many characteristics. He is very kind. He has put this idea into our minds, our hearts, himself. This is not my idea. This is actually his idea. And he is kind enough that he doesn't want any share from the return. No return goes to him. All the income is bestowed to us. So, what a good investor. And one more thing. He has introduced the accelerator himself. That accelerator or mentor is the person who is introduced in all divine scriptures before. He is a guaranteed mentor and supported by God, and you can trust him in any way. He is, of course, a kind mentor who is alive right now, and I wish I could see him, talk to him face to face, and present my idea. Well, it seems that I have found the investor and the accelerator or the mentor, and how about my group members, my team members? I'm sure that the idea I presented is also yours. And most of you are thinking of the same idea. So I think we can be a very good team and try to do the best of what we can. And one more thing is that, as I said, that accelerator is sensitive to the characteristics the team have. So all we need to do is to prepare ourselves and try to be the best, follow the instructions, follow our heart, practice humanity, and be passionate enough to be traveling on a very, very, very tough journey, which is making all the world with peace. Of course, this peace has actually been mentored by somebody else, but we have to try ourselves. And finally, putting all of them together, I do really believe that the investor is interested and he is waiting for our elevator speech. So let's prepare it. There's a code to that. Read the code, pray to God from deep inside your heart, and ask him to send us his promised savior. Allahumma ajjal lawaliyika al-faraj. Thank you.